This is Tom Fox, and Gil and Andrew are on assignment today, so I'm going to take a solo turn with the Kerrville Weekly News and some of the top stories that caught my attention. First up from the lead, a new subscription meal service is coming to Kerrville as siblings Emily Simpson and Stephanie Sedfield are now changing how Hill Country residents are experiencing gourmet meals with their monthly subscription service from Cartwheels Catering and Cart & Co. Their Supper Club subscription delivers family-size entrees and specialty items directly to customers once per month, a concept that has rapidly expanded to Fredericksburg and San Antonio. It's a monthly subscription, and it comes to you once per month. So check it out. Next up, also from the lead, is a story about the KPUB, Kerrville Public Utility Board, took a significant step forward in developing its own power generation capability this week as it unanimously approved two key resolutions that authorize financing for a natural gas-fired power plant. The KPUB Board of Trustees approved Resolution 2505, which authorizes the Kerrville Public Utility Board Public Facility Corporation to issue bonds for power generation facility, and another resolution which establishes pricing parameters. The project represents years of work and preparation by the KPUB staff, as well as approximately 8 months of intense due diligence and deliberation by KPUB going forward. So, from the Kerrville Daily Times, an article on the KPUB Theater, which has been closed from renovations. Renovations to the complex began this week, meaning performances will be closed for the next few months. The KPUB Theater is slated for a complete replacement of both the roof and of the heating and AC. The city of Kerrville will invest more than $3 million in the work for the KPUB with the assistance of funds provided by the Economic Improvement Corporation, or the EIC. The reopened theater will be more comfortable and more efficient and no longer bedeviled by unreliable cooling and drips during rains. The work is scheduled to be completed in August when Playhouse 2000 will present its award-winning musical Into the Woods by Stephen Sondheim. In the meantime, Playhouse 2000 plans to expand its programming into the intimate VK Garage Theater on Washington, including a new musical tribute to Neil Diamond coming in May. Also from the Kerrville Daily Times, if you were in any part of Texas, literally all the way up to Marble Falls, down to the valley, we saw tremendous winds this week on Tuesday, and we had haze that obscured the hills around town. We had huge wind damage. The brown haze hung over most of Kerr County, and the blustery conditions brought down trees. We had grass fires. We had downed electric lines and contributed to a very busy day for KPUB linemen, firefighters, and tree companies. There were no weather-related injuries, but with the dry vegetation, everyone was on very high alert for fires, and fortunately, everyone took notice. Even Governor Greg Abbott activated additional emergency response resources, anticipating extremely critical wildfire danger. We had a great talk by John Wells, the publisher of the Kerrville Daily Times, this week at the Kerrville Rotary Club. And I was privileged to be in attendance as I'm a member of the Kerrville Rotary Club, so it was great to hear John talk about the Kerrville Daily Times, which has been in business for more than 117 years. Since he's joined the paper, he's made it a priority to modernize the paper while preserving its role as a trusted community staple. Wells began by talking about the ownership, which is the Southern Newspaper Corporation, led by CEO Lisa Walls. The company operates 11 newspapers and is debt-free with no shareholders. And perhaps one of the most impressive things is that 95% of every dollar received from advertisers and subscribers to the Kerrville Daily Times stays in Kerrville. So it's a great talk, and John's really been great about getting out, talking to the community. We've had him on the Kerrville on the Hill Country podcast. So that was, he's really making outreach to the community. Late last week, we saw the annual Hill Country Economic Summit, and the Kerrville Daily Times reported on it as community leaders gathered to talk about growth and population increase in Kerr County. We got the State of the City talk from Mayor Joe Herring and City Manager Dalton Rice, and then we had several other talks about economic and political concerns around the Hill Country and the rest of the state of Texas. It's a great annual conference, so I hope if you didn't get to go this year, you will be able to go next year. And finally, our final story is the 391 Commission is a reality as a website has gone up. And it is the latest in the battle against battery energy storage systems, or BEES, now referred to as ESS. The commission was finalized when an interlocal agreement joined Kerrville and Kendall counties in the fight against this. If it sounds like a war, well, it's because many view it that way. And both officials from Kerr and Kendall County say the 391 Commission will give ESS opponents legal standing to force state agencies to coordinate over the permits for battery storage facilities. I'm not sure if that part's true, and it's one thing we've learned from the government of the state of Texas. Whatever the government wants to do, it does. It really doesn't concern itself with local issues, local concerns, local safety, or anything else local. But at least the 391's Commission has been approved.
This is Tom Fox. I hope you enjoyed this edition of the Kerrville Weekly News Roundup. This podcast is a production of the Texas Hill Country Podcast Network. If you've enjoyed this podcast, I hope you will subscribe or rate and review this podcast wherever great podcasts are listened to. I hope you'll join Gilbert, Andrew, and myself next week, where we take a look at some of the top stories from Kerrville and the surrounding Hill Country area. Thanks so much for listening.